Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel. So this is a second step towards our AI learning. Okay, towards your interview preparation, towards your journey in terms of AI. Okay, so I've come up with some few basic things with regards to AI. What is AI? What is machine learning? What is LLM? What is agentic AI? What is the concept of multi-agent systems? AI governance, responsible AI, and RAG, prompt engineering, agentic guardrails. Okay, let's understand one by one with some real-time examples. Okay, now if you would have been gone through my previous videos, if you would have understand about generative AI, agentic AI, all those basic concepts. Okay, now let's understand artificial intelligence. So what is happening here? The term says artificial intelligence. What do you mean by artificial? Something which is not real, correct? I hope you guys are with me. Artificial means something which is not real. Not real in the sense it's not a human. Okay. Now, coming to intelligence. If you look at any organization, if you look into any organization, there's a multiple roles from security guard who is checking your as soon as you enter any office, what is going to happen? There is initial check at entrance, and there is a another level of checking at before you enter your ODC. So there is a security who if you are going a late night drop. Okay, I'm just trying to give you some examples. So there's a multiple security guards. Okay, and after that some people will sit at receptions, some people will manage water, electricity, or you can consider as AC. This is a non-technical stuff. Now, let's coming to technical people. They are the actual resources who are working technically on the IT companies. Now, what's the difference between these two people? Apart from technical people, there is the managers who manage these technical guys. And then there is a VP and higher level of roles. And then it goes to AD, associate director, all those things, and then you go to CEO. Now tell me, what is when one company is having a multiple roles, there will be a different level of payment structures. Why? Because all are not equally intelligent. All are having a capacity, capability, but only few of them are utilizing based on their education, based on their thinking, based on their learning, on their presentation, based on their performance. That's why this intelligence come into the picture. Security guard cannot be paid as equal to CEO, and CEO cannot be paid as equal to any other higher roles, any other business peoples who is taking decisions on their own. Even though the person of a company is a CEO, he is having some restrictions. So I'm just trying to explain the meaning of an intelligence. People will get paid based on their intelligence. That's it. Okay. Now, this artificial intelligence, you have to compare with HI, which means human intelligence. Why? Why? Because the ultimate agenda is want to replace a human with artificial, want to replace human with machine. That's what the ultimate goal is here. Whatever the task, repetitive tasks that are going to be done by humans, the ultimate goal, that particular task has to be performed by machine. I've given you an example. In our day-to-day life, if you go back 50 years back or 60 years back, there is no washing machine at your home. The machine which cleaning your clothes. There is no fridge at your home. If you go back 50 years back, correct? There is no AC in your home. We are already dealing. Humans are too intelligent to deal with machines. It's not like that we are the first time dealing with machines. AI has already entered in our life 20 years back. 50 years back, there's no machines. 20 years back, there is a machines. When I say machines, which works without intelligence. Example, I can give you in your home appliances, your washing machine, your fridge, your AC. These are all machines, correct? But they don't have any kind of intelligence. Right, guys? I hope you guys are with me, and I hope I'm trying my best to explain you artificial intelligence. Why the intelligence is important? Because people are get paid based on their intelligence. That's why this example of CEO, from security guard to CEO, I've given you multiple roles, multiple payment structures. Now, when coming to AI, if you want to understand AI, what is this expected from AI? AI means you have to understand human intelligence. You are going to replace a human for a not all the task, for a repetitive task. Now, let's understand, is this the first time we are dealing with machines? No, we are already dealing with machines long ago, long ago. 25 years back, if you look at, there are the machines. If you go back 50 years back, there is no machines. No machines in the sense, no fridge, no washing machine, no AC, nothing. Now, slowly, human has made an evolution how to deal with machines, how to deal with powers. Imagine the era where the washing machine has been invented. In the beginning, people would have denied it, and now it's very common. Now, if you see, internet in each home is very common. Like across, when you have a power at home, you have internet at home. But if you look at 10 years back, that's not the case. Only the people who is working, only the people who are high professional people used to have an internet. Now, the services has been reduced at a so ground level so that everyone can afford, everyone can understand that. Okay, that's what's happening now. Now, humans are already dealing with machines. No fridge, no washing machine, no AC 50 years back. Now, if you took at 20 years back, we are already dealing with machines. Now, in the same way, if you compare the requirement of any restart in the IT side, any upgrade, any patching activity, okay, any kind of activity or a scheduled change for a specific configuration file, specific line, all these things. In a repetitive task in the IT department, these are tasks you can give inputs to the machine and machine can perform. And how the machine will learn? Machine will learn based on a data. So machine needs inputs. Machine needs training. Like as a human, how are you going to train the data? Are you going to input the external data? Are you going to input the internal data? Based on what you're preparing machine. That's it. Now, machine is considering as what? Machine is considering as a model. Now, in this terminology, now machine is comparing as a model. You are building a model. This model is performing this task. Task A, task B, task C, task C. That's it. So overall, the artificial intelligence means you have to think about human intelligence. The objective is whatever the task that is going to perform by human, the same task is going to perform by machine. If you look at in your day-to-day activities, in your daily life, you're already dealing with machines. What is the example of a machine? You're already dealing with washing machine, fridge, AC. These are all the machines without intelligence. Now, intelligence, why I'm explaining you the role of security guard to CEO, because people will get paid not because of their weight, not because of their caste, not because of their what their family belongs to. People will get paid based on their role they are performing and how intelligent they are. Even though if they get a role, how successfully continuing that particular role depends, purely depends on their talent, education, and intelligence, how they react during the situation. That is really important, guys. So I hope I'm clear on artificial intelligence part. Let's go back to the document so that we can see some real-time examples. Okay. Now, AI, machine, I've already told you, right? Machine performing task that normally needs a human intelligence. Machine is performing a task, but when you add a intelligence of a human to the machine, that will be considered as AI. That's all. Now, here are some technical examples. An OpenShift autoscaler. When I say autoscaler, what do you mean by autoscaler? So if there is a huge traffic, if you have some 50 pods in your architecture, that is not enough to serve the request. In that case, if as soon as the CPU percentage reaches 80, the number of pods has to increase. Increase by what number? Four pods, 50% of pods, 50% of pod. Once it reaches 80% of request, then number of pods has to be increased. These rules you can set in OpenShift. So basically the applications are going to deployed. So pod is a base element where entire structure is totally dependent on. So the example of AI you can get autoscaler, it reacts based on a situation because it is trained. If the CPU percentage is 80, then you can increase the number of pods. It's as simple as that. Now, machine learning, how the machine get trained. If the machine is there and it's not getting trained, and it's of no use. That's all, as simple as that. If you are not training your machine, if you are not giving inputs to your machine, it's just a standing element. That's all. Systems that learn patterns from data instead of being explicitly programmed with rules. Okay. So from data, this is what system that learns patterns from data. So this is what it is really important here. The way the inputs you are given, that is what it is really important. A model trained on historical CPU memory data to predict tomorrow's peak load. Okay. A model trained on historical CPU data to predict tomorrow's peak load. So if you are giving an inputs of a CPU memory for a 2 weeks, for a month, for a quarter, then it can do the analysis for next week based on the past data, next month based on a past month performance, next quarter based on a previous quarter, next year based on a previous year, like that prediction. So machine can perform something only based on the inputs what you have trained that particular machine. Machine cannot think on its own. Machine cannot take a decisions. That again needs some additional inputs. Machine learning. What is a learning? Machine learning just based on the inputs what you're giving. Whatever the input that you give the inputs as a data, you give the patterns, you give whatever it is, it will learn the same thing. If you train for 1 week, it can perform for 1 week in the same way. If you want do some additional task to it, again you have to train for a new task. And then two tasks will perform. If you train on T3, task 3, then again it will perform the T3. Again it will perform continuation of T1, T2 and T3. Like that you have to train it. Don't expect machine to perform you what your imagination is without training a machine. As simple as that. If you have trained your machine, then you can expect the result from your machine. If you're not trained your machine, don't expect the machine to learn on its own because machine is hungry about data. It performs only what it has learned. That's it. Okay. Now let's coming to LLM, large language model. Now what is happening here? A neural network trained on a massive text data to understand and generate a human-like language. Okay, to generate human-like language. This is what here important, which has been using in all the movies as of now, all the models, LLM. Okay, using LLM to read a raw Splunk logs and summarize. If you have a huge data and we don't really have a patience to read around 500 lines and all, now we use this LLM to summarize it. What has actually happened when you have a huge data and you can summarize what was the problem. 3 pods failed due to OOM, out of memory issue. This example you can correlate here. Okay, so human-like language means which you can read and understand. So LLM, what it is going to do, it is going to analyze the huge content and give it to you in a summarized way so that you can read and understand. You don't need to spend too much of time. We are introducing machines for our own benefits. We are dealing with machines to achieve the things faster. We are dealing with machines to grow, to analyze in such a way so that whatever it has been taking more time in the past, it's not the same thing going forward. Okay, now let me go ahead and repeat what is this AI we have defined. Machines, basically machines performing a task like a human intelligence, replacing a human. Okay, now when coming to real time example, you can give an OpenShift autoscaler example. When coming to machine learning, machine will not think. Machine is not having its own intelligence. Only the performance depending on the patterns, the data that you're going to train on. Now this LLM basically gives you a readable format text. If you have a huge data and you don't have a patience to read it and you want to summarize it in 2-3 lines, that's it. You go for LLM. Now next is agentic AI. This is really important, guys. This is really interesting. When you open a chat GPT, when you open any other AI tools, okay, Microsoft Copilot, okay, whatever it is, if you give a prompt and it will give a response, that is simply AI. And when you have a dedicated person assigned to your task, AI that not just answers but plans, use tools, take actions towards your goal. So an agent that reads a pager duty alert, queries Prometheus and restart a failing services on its own. Such a beautiful example here for agentic AI. If you have a T1 task and you have a dedicated person for that particular T1 task, he takes care of only that particular task. It's always important to have a crucial task to be accomplished by the dedicated person. Everyone's responsibility is no one's responsibility. That's why the agentic AI comes into the picture. If they see alert, okay, this is a problem, this is what action I have to take. They're going to take an action immediately. That's what you are assigning a person to that. Maid is coming in the home, cleaning vessels, clearing it off and going. That is a kind of agentic AI. If you compare in your IT department, if there is an alert, CPU alert is there, okay, which process is consuming more space, kill that process and restart it. In the same way, if you talk in Kubernetes, OpenShift, any of the pod is facing issue, delete the pod and spin the new pod. That's all. Now, next, multi-agent system. Now, this is really important, okay? One agent monitors CPU, one monitors DB connections, one monitor logs, and orchestration agent correlates all three before deciding the root cause. This is what? The ultimate goal is root cause. If you have to find some root cause of a particular issue or of a particular problem, then you have to look into what? In multiple stages. You have to check either what's the problem with the capacity, CPU, memory, RAM, disk space, whatever it is, and how the application connectivity to the DB. As the DB connectivity has reached its maximum, any stale connections, any password change in the DB, all these angles, and then orchestration agent correlates all these scenario, and you need to monitor the logs also. Your CPU, your DB, your disk space, your logs, everything it check step by step. Multi-agent system. One agent will take care of DB connectivity, one agent will take care of resourcing capacity, one agent will take care of networking issues, the other agent will look into overall how the performance is. If everything goes, either some recent changes happen, DB password has been got changed, so that will be considered as a multi-agent system here. Now, next coming to AI governance. What's happening with regards to AI governance? This is really important. Governance. Someone who is taking your responsibility. the policies, controls, and oversight that ensures AI system are safe, compliant, and accountable. So your AI, whatever the AI you are using, it has to be safe, ethical. It has to be safe means it should not harm any humans, and it should be legal. It should not be illegal. When I say illegal, all this money laundering, um, uh, trafficking, human trafficking, all these things is considered as an unsafe and unethical. Okay. Now, AI governance is some authority body which makes sure your AI is not causing harm to the society. It is not doing any illegal activities. If you remember the Rajnikant movie, Robo Chetty, and his boss will ask to, before approval, he wants to ask the Rajni to rotate faster, 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 and then stop. By the time he says stop, the knife will touch the approval and then the blood will come. So in this situation, what has happened? He know when to do it, what to do it, but if someone intentionally done it, then they cannot explain themselves. That's the reason over here. So governance is something which is taking care of your particular AI, your robo, your model, which is doing ethical things and which is not going to cause a harm to the humans. That's basically considered as an AI governance. So requirement, for example, if there is any certificate renewal, okay, the example is email approval. Requiring management email approval before an agent auto renews production SSL certificate instead of letting act unsupervised. So without approval, this is what here important is. Without approval, the certificate should not get renewed automatically. So the alerts will generate 15 days before how the certificates, how many certificates are going to expire on what servers, for which applications, all the details. And it will send an email. Hey guys, the certificate is going to expire. Can I go ahead and renew it? As soon as someone sitting on a top level, they say, yes, yeah, go ahead. And then the renewal of certificate will happen with the help of models or with the help of humans, whoever it is. Governance, it doesn't matter. Governance matters is the action, whichever is performing, is following the particular process or not. Yes or no? Yes, then it is AI governance. Okay. Now, next coming to responsible AI. Now understand responsible AI. You're an employee of an organization. What is your responsibility? Your responsibility, you have to go to office in formal dress. Your responsibility is to be in the shift from morning, whatever the dedicated the 9 hours or 10 hours you have been aligned for. You have to be in the calls. You have to respond to the emails. You have to assign the tickets on your name. You have to act on them. You have to perform the task. And your responsible means what? You are assigned to a particular task and you have to perform that task. Responsible AI is considered as a the person who is owning the task. It's as simple as that. If I'm an employee, I am owning the task. I am responsible for the task. I will troubleshoot it. If I'm not able to do it, I'll escalate it. I'll follow the process. This is what the situation I have did. I've taken action A, action B, action C, but still the issue is not resolved. Can you please, I need some other help. We'll go to the vendor. We'll get inputs from vendor and make sure the issue is resolved. Overall is you are there for the issue. You are assigned for that particular issue. Responsible AI. Building AI that is a fair, transparent, safe, privacy, respecting and explainable. An incident response agent logs why it decided to restart a pod. So an incident response agent logs why it decided to restart a pod. Someone asks you to do a restart and you have done a restart. No, it should not be the case. You have to first check the logs. You have to understand what is the issue, why the pod is not responding. And then you can go ahead and take a decision of restart. Because if you have done a restart and your manager comes and asks you why you have done the restart. You should have an answer. You should have a logs. You should have data. You have to go to the monitoring tools. You look into the Splunk logs. You look into the basic things, all those things. Why you have taken an action. You should not just do a restart in production environment. Correct. So responsible AI is as simple as that taking the ownership of a task. What is the AI governance? AI governance makes sure your AI is safe and ethical, which is not causing harm to the society. That's all. Financially, health wise, anything. Now, next is RAG. So, this is something really important here. Feeding an LLM relevant retrieved document or data at a query time instead of relying on its trained memory. So, feeding an LLM. Whenever the LLM needs a data, you're providing a data at a runtime, for example. Okay, an agent pulls the last 50 lines of a specific pod logs from Splunk, feed to the LLM to explain the crash instead of guessing it. So if there is any issue happen, if there is any problem has occurred, rather than guessing it, you should look at the logs. What happened at the current logs? What happened? Why? Look at the latest tail-f, tail-500f and that particular file name. If you give this, what will happen? An agent pulls the last 50 lines. And based on the logs, you can conclude why the crash has happened. Okay. So feeding an LLM, instead of relying on its past data or a trained data, it needs a runtime data is required. Now, next is prompt engineering. We all know this, right? You know all this prompt engineering, right? Designing inputs to get output. You want a specific output. For that particular output, what you need to do? You go to the ATM, you need a 5,000 to withdraw, and you give a request of what? After putting your ATM, after giving your PIN, you request for 5,000, correct? You don't request for 50,000 and you get 5,000, what will happen? You'll raise a complaint. It's as simple as that. If you have a particular task decided in your mind, if you want a particular output, you have to perform the same thing. Always the outputs depend on the inputs. It's as simple as that. If you are expecting a better future, you have to work hard. If you want to understand something, you have to learn something. You try to put efforts. You need a paper, you need a pen, you need a time. Open a YouTube, understand the things, what is happening, and try to correlate in your exams, in your projects, whatever it is. So dedicated output is depending on the inputs. A system prompt that forces agent always output P1, P2, P3 in a fixed JSON format. So here the example is this. Okay, if you want your tickets data in a JSON format, you have to give this prompt. You can get it. Now, next is agentic AI. What is happening? Capping an agent to max 3 auto redemption attempts means agentic AI. You have your chatbot agents, right? If you take any organization, college inquiry or a hospital inquiry, anything, any organization, any financial companies, what they are doing, they are giving with the chatbots. If you have any query, please click here. The agent should not respond more than 3 times. If it is responding more than 3 times, and that's a maximum cap you're allowing, so that next level is human intervention is required. Maybe the opposite person is not happy with whatever the response that agentic AI or your chatbot is giving. So in that case, human intelligence or human interaction is required to understand the requirement and to go ahead and proceed further. Just imagine, don't think that artificial intelligence is going to replace human. It is never ever possible, because humans is having more intelligence, more planning. If you have seen the Rajnikant movie, that's a simple introduction of a AI for a layman. Artificial intelligence dealing with machines. Machines are learning based on the inputs, and these machines are converting into a LLM, large language models, and these models has been used for a specific task either for your job search, either for your healthcare, either for your taking care of your financial activities, or your health, or your future planning, all these things. It will perform based on the inputs what you're going to do. That's it. It's not gonna perform anything on their own. If you say, then it will proceed. So this is the basic introduction. What I want to give you something about AI, machine learning, LLM, agentic AI, multi-agent system. Multi-agent system is helpful in terms of root cause. If you want to know the root cause, then you have to check all the aspect of your capacity, resourcing capacity like CPU, RAM, DB connectivity, logs, all those things. Okay. Now, next, what is it? AI governance. Governance is like your parents and kids. Parents is a governance, and parents is responsible for a kid's actions. And at the same time, when the kids goes to school, school management is a governance for kids. You got it? I'm just trying to give you an example so that you can correlate. You can understand governance is authority body which take care of what is illegal, what is illegal, what is safe, what is unsafe. What you have to do, how you have to behave depending on your situation. You have to go to office in a formals. That has been rules, regulations which has been passed on. You cannot go in your pajama, right? You cannot behave with your colleague like the way you behave with your wife. Wife is a different, colleagues are different. So there is some moral responsibility. There is some commitment. You have to behave yourself. So, or else you're gonna punish. That's all. Responsible AI. Taking ownership of this particular task. I am there in this shift. I'm available in this shift. I'm not taking leave. I'm responsible. If any tickets coming in, I'm responsible. If anyone is pinging, I'm responsible. If anyone sending emails, I am responsible. I am owning the shift for this project for this duration because some ownership is required. Now, RAG, which means training, gets inputs not based on a past or not past learnings, it are runtime inputs. Next up, prompt engineering. If you have a specific output in your mind, then you have to go give the specific inputs. Then agentic AI guardrails means restrictions. You cannot answer more than 3 times for the same query. And then it next level needs a human intelligence. I hope this has been really helpful for you in terms of understanding what is what. And please request you to click on a like and subscribe my channel so that I'll be coming with up some real-time content, real examples so that you can correlate and understand what's happening. Request you click on like and subscribe my channel. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.